comments?
Yeah, obviously we're thrilled today. You know, just left the quarterback club meeting and to see the energy and the passion of the Ole Miss people. And one of the things that I think motivates this staff and drives us daily is that we take a great sense of pride in knowing that we can bring joy to the Rebel faithful. And I think that's one of the reasons we fit very well here and can share the message of Ole Miss and who we really are here, and what we have to offer these young men and the families that we go and recruit to join our family here at Rebel Nation as student athletes. So it was thrilling to obviously finish strong today in the year-long plan that we had. And boy, there's so many people that play a huge part in this process that it's hard to thank them all. Obviously our staff, who I think we have some of the rising stars in this profession, and the way they went about recruiting and building relationships over the course of the year and executing our 12-month plan. I thought they were pretty flawless in that in most regards. But also our players, I can't give them enough credit. They sold our program. I've often believed and will say that if we can get a young man to campus and they see the beauty of Ole Miss, the passion of its people, the love that they all have for this great university, the fact that it has a rich tradition, and 6 SEC championships and 3 national championships, and they are somewhat far removed, and so it doesn't get talked about a lot, but obviously it's something that we use here in our recruiting sales pitch. But the biggest vision that we have is to do something new and fresh, and convince a group of young men to come together and want to be different, and to do something different and fresh at a place that may not be the norm, to upset the apple cart, so to speak. And that's what we went about in this recruiting class. We did it under extreme criticism and negativity, particularly the last 48 hours. It's been very difficult to sit by and know that our coaches have executed our 12-month plan with great integrity, and obviously we had some great ends to some national guys, and I think that's something that a lot of people that criticize don't understand. You know, we have the brother of the #1 player in the country who just had a wonderful experience this year at Ole Miss, and family is very important to that family, to the mom and to the dad and to that brother, and obviously that was a great end. And to have the best friend of the #1 wide receiver in the nation on our team that we signed last year, and his high school coach be dear friends with one of our coaches, was a great end. And then to have those 2 young men like Laquan Treadwell and Robert Kimdichie go to recruiting for you, it carries weight. And we were fortunate that we had those ends to those young men, and I think it was obviously God's favor to us has been great, and He's put us in that position to have those ties that really gave us a leg up on the competition in those. And then the job that Chris Kiffin did recruiting Laramie Tunsil was just phenomenal, and it took everybody on our players to get that national guy. But once we got him here on that weekend with all the other national guys, I knew that we had a great chance because the mom fell in love with it. And if you win the mom in the South, you've got a good chance at winning the recruit. So Miss Desiree loved Ole Miss, and so we knew we had a great chance there. And you know, Tony Connor, you know, throwing up the land shark on TV today, our room erupted. You know, what a great get. He wants to represent this state. Our message to him was real simple: man, come help us do it right here in our own state, the state that I'm from, a state that he's from, and right down the road was great. So our players did a great job. Our student body and faculty, I can't tell you how phenomenal they were on these official visits. They sold our program better than we could. Ethel Young Minor, when she stands before our parents that we bring in on these weekends, it is a home run for us. And she does such a phenomenal job of explaining what we're about here at Ole Miss. So it all came together very nicely, and then today to receive all of our NLIs back, with the exception of one that we had sent out, and then that we went to bed last night hoping that we would get back, made for a hugely successful day. and I do think it has the possibility of being a program changer. Obviously, nothing is, it's all on paper right now, and we'll start having to manage expectations right now because we'll still be in our second year of our journey together. But I do think we took a huge step forward today in on that journey toward getting where we all want to get, and that's competing for an SEC West championship. So we're thrilled with the day, and obviously I want to talk about the young men real quick. But at quarterback, you know, to get two four-star guys in Ryan Buchanan and Devontae Kincaid, just real pleased. Ryan has been such a solid recruiter also. One of the things I think we're real fortunate with is we got some guys early that were very vocal and had great leadership qualities and were able to help us recruit and sell the program and sell the coaches and sell the philosophy. And Ryan and Devontae both did this very, very nicely for us. So to get two four-star guys, they're a little different, obviously. Ryan is a pro style. Devontae is more of a dual threat guy, but they both would have great use in our system. Running backs, we're a little thin at running back, so we had to go heavy to try to solve that problem to get Eugene Brasley, Mark Dodson, Kalo Moore, and Jordan Wilkins. I mean, Jordan and Kalo and Mark are all highly rated in the ESPN rankings. I think we've got some great young backs already on campus, and then you add these guys to it, and to land Kalo from in-state is always a huge get. And the guy's a speedster. You can't ever have enough guys that run like he does. And Mark Dodson here at mid-year, one of the leading rushers in the history of Tennessee high school football. And I've been really impressed with the way he's going about his business since he's been here. Eugene and Jordan give us two bigger backs, something we really don't have a lot of here, give us kind of a different look and a different dimension there. Wide receivers, Quincy, Derrick Jones, Laquan Treadwell, Trey Bledsoe. You know, we're just thrilled with those guys. I mean, Laquan's the #1 receiver in the nation. I mentioned about our ties with him and him becoming maybe our biggest recruiter nationally for us with his use of social media and how he went about publicizing the good things about Ole Miss. Quincy, to be able to go in and snatch him from Texas in a really good recruiting war with Texas Tech, Baylor, UCLA, and Nebraska. I thought Coach McGriff did a wonderful job in winning that battle. Derrick Jones, I think, maybe one of the hidden gems in this class. I think the guy's a phenomenal athlete. Seeing him play basketball when I'm out in my visit, he plays above the rim. I think he can play a lot of places for us from safety to receiver. So thrilled to have those guys. Our tight ends, obviously everyone knows that we graduated all three from last year, so we're going to have to play some young kids at tight end. Evan Ingram, A.J. Jackson, and Christian Morgan. Christian has arrived at mid-year. He's a big physical tight end from Texas. A.J. is the #1 tight end out of the state of Georgia. He's the total package kind of, and Evan Ingram is a guy that we can flex out and move around that has tremendous ball skills and can run great routes. In a year or two in the program with Paul Jackson, I think he will develop into being an all-around tight end. Offensive line, we graduate 6 kids after this coming season. So it was a huge need for us to go out and get some offensive linemen that can come in and play and then be ready to start a lot of football games in their career. And I think Matt Luke is very, very happy today to sign the #1 offensive lineman in the nation in Laramie Tunsil. Chris Kiffin led the recruiting on that, did a phenomenal job. And Austin Golson, the #3 tackle in America out of Prattville, Alabama, came down to us, Alabama and Florida State, and Matt personally recruited him. And he fell in love when he came on his official visit here with the place. He fit with us, his grandparents fit with us, and that was that was probably the most anxious one we had today, is whether or not we were going to get him. And so glad he came with us. And then to have the 2 in-state guys that we think were the best linemen in the state, Durante Bolden and Davion Johnson. We think we have 4 really, really quality offensive linemen. The return of Nick Brazel to our team, obviously after some academic issues and him coming back, he'll have an opportunity to earn eligibility by going through the process that we've outlined for him. Should he make it, he will play defensive back for us at corner and would be a welcome addition to us on the defensive side of the football. Q Morales, another mid-year junior college transfer student from Hines Community College, will be another asset at corner. Could also see time at receiver, but a tremendous athlete. Defensively, to sign Tony Connor out of Batesville, I think he's one of the best safeties coming out of high school football in a long time. He is so physical, so rangy, so fast, that he is an immediate difference maker in what we do. We need our best athlete to play our Husky position, and we've identified him as that type of guy. And then Bobby Hill out of Colquitt, Georgia, is a corner that we are really, really high on. Played in a great system there under Rush Probst, and has played a lot of quality football. Came to camp here last summer. We just were just pleased with him. We thought he was a phenomenal player. Glad to get him. And David Kamara out of Grayson, Georgia, another cornerback. Linebackers, we signed two. Marcus Robinson out of Memphis East, 6'4" kid that is the perfect size for the SEC. Again, a year or two in the weight program, and he's going to be a real specimen. He reminded me of kind of like Patrick Willis type coming out of high school. And Ray Smith out of Florence, Alabama, another 6'3" range. We needed to increase our range at linebacker, and I think we addressed that very nicely with those two guys. Defensive line, we lost two interior guys and two defensive ends off last year's team. We were thrilled to sign the #1 junior college player in the nation at mid-year in Levon Hooks. He'll play inside for us. And Herbert Moore is another inside guy who I think has a huge ceiling that he hasn't even gotten close to yet. He is a tremendous get-off and athleticism for a big man, and he needs to get here and get in our weight program in a hurry. And obviously, you know, arguably the crown jewel of the class is Robert Kimdichie, the #1 player in the nation. And his ability is well documented. He's #1 in the nation in every single service. He remained that from start to finish, which doesn't always happen. But his skill set is way beyond his years. He is that talented, and he will be an immediate impact player for us here at Ole Miss. And we're thrilled that we had his brother Denzel here, and that his mom wanted them together. And then we signed kicker Andy Papanastis from out of Montgomery. And he was actually out of last year's class, but we talked him into waiting to join us until January, and he's here now. But he's going to be a superb kicker. So that's a quick run through of the class. I know you have questions. We're thrilled again. We think we addressed a lot of needs, and couldn't be prouder of the job that our coaches did.
Now raise your hand if you have a question. The microphone too. Start here.
So LeBron James was even tweeting about your class today. Just, you know, talk about the national exposure, just how, I mean, you know, everybody was talking about Ole Miss today.
I don't think you could go out and purchase the exposure we got today. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's still ongoing, but as I sat there this morning early, and from 6:30 to 10, it seemed like Ole Miss was popping up on the screen quite a lot. And then to take to the Twitter world and see people like LeBron James recognize that fact was pretty nice. I think it got retweeted a few times, and hopefully Ross is already underway to get him to give us an "Are you ready?" next year for one of the games.
Coach, you were on most of these guys for a full year, but you did pick up several that you were on late. Do you think that the momentum created by some of these recruits played a hand in that?
No question. I think the recruiting by Laquan Treadwell and our current players, our current players did a phenomenal job, but the recruiting of people like Ryan Buchanan and Laquan Treadwell and even Robert Kimdichie behind the scenes somewhat, and Devontae Kincaid, those were some, and Derek Jones, those were all very vocal in trying to help us put a class together. And Mark Dotson, Herbert Moore, you know, that was the kind of unique thing for me this year. Is I don't know that I've ever been a part of a recruiting class where the active commits were so active in helping you recruit the class. So I think Quincy, for, you know, attaboy Joe out of Texas. I think Laquan, I mean, obviously McGriff is the recruiting coach on record, but, you know, Laquan did a pretty good job of recruiting him also. So I think all of that, this whole recruiting cycle, I don't think she will mind me saying, but you know, Robert and Denzel's mom told me from the very get-go that we had a chance to get them together if we could create some excitement and win some football games and show improvement. That's the way it was, you know, started with me in the recruitment of Robert. And, you know, we were fortunate that we were able to create a lot of momentum and buzz at the end of the year. And we were very competitive in some big games with Texas A&M, Alabama, LSU, you know, on and on. So certainly we want to be more than just competitive, but there was no question in their mind there was improvement. And Denzel had such a phenomenal year, and then we win the Egg Bowl, and then we win the Compass Bowl, and that momentum helped us go into recruiting, and then to land, you know, Laquan early, a national guy that gave us some validation maybe, and then for him to help us start recruiting others along with the other commits that we already had. I don't think there's any question that that was a big part of this process.
I'm curious, were you surprised by some of the, albeit vague, accusations about your success in recruiting? And then also, could you kind of take us through the decision that you made to address it as aggressively as you did?
You know, I have to, you know, be very candid. I was really shocked. You know, I didn't expect, I know people have their own opinions, and they feel the freedom now in the social media to voice that very freely. And, you know, I was shocked at how much it was. It really was. And I think if people knew the whole story of, you know, the natural tie-ins with the mom of the #1 recruit wanting their sons together, and the tie between Anthony Stanifer and Laquan Treadwell and Coach McGriff and their high school coach, and those natural ends, and Tony Connors right down the road. And that's, you know, the people that obviously we get criticized for are Robert Kimdichie, Laquan Treadwell, Tony Connor, Laramie Tunsil, maybe Austin Golson, I don't know, but those seem to be the ones that always get pointed out. And 3 of those kids, I mean, we've got great tie-ins with, you know, that helped us get way ahead of the competition in those. So, but yet they felt the freedom to do that, and so I asked our administration. I'm a head-on guy. I don't, you know, I just don't like to see people just randomly feeling the freedom just to take shots. And we had a plan. We executed our plan. Obviously, we had some luck to have some ends to some of those, and I readily admit that. But we did it with integrity within our coaching staff. And my whole point in saying that is, if there's something that's out there that has some factual basis to it, we would like to know. And you know, so I said that, and obviously after about 4,000 retweets and every national media picking up on it, then I decided to take it down because of some of the cruel shots I was taking, and my daughters followed me, and the coaching staff's kids followed me, and then I got, you know, ripped for that too. So I don't know that you can win, you know, when you engage in the social media, but I still stand by, you know, if there's something going on that is wrong, that's not the way Ross wants the program run, the chancellor wants it run, or I want it run, and that's all I was meaning by that statement. I know the way our staff's doing it, and again, I think if everyone understood that there's more to getting these guys than just us walking out there and recruiting them. We had some natural ends to them, and certainly that proved to be very advantageous to us. So.
You have to follow this up with another top 10 class next year and beyond in order to begin to rise through the SEC West on the field.
You know, I don't know if it has to be top 10, but certainly, you know, you've got to be adequate evaluators of talent. I think, you know, last year, I don't even know what we ended up, even if we were ranked last year in the recruiting class, but we found some pretty good hidden gems in that class, and I think you'll see the same in this. And I think one of the strengths of our class, everybody wants to focus on those top guys, but I think one of the strengths of our class are those 4-star and high 3-stars that we got in there. I mean, the Jordan Wilkins, the Mark Dotsons, the guys like Derek Jones and Davion Johnson and Durante Bolden, and hey, how about Kalo Moore? You know, we don't even, those are not even getting talked about a whole lot, and we think they're superstars. And so I don't know that next year's class has to be as top-heavy as this one appears to be, but it certainly needs to be in that middle area like the ones I'm mentioning right there, the Ryan Buchanans, the Devontae Kincaids. We need to land another solid class of those high 3- and 4-star guys, for sure. The only way you're ever going to compete at the level we want to, I think, is if you put 2 or 3 of those classes together, because that's what the other schools are doing. But no question, this class and the exposure that we received today is already helping us in 2014. It gives us some momentum, it gives us some validity, and now we can use it to hopefully start building relationships with a few national guys. We can't go after an enormous amount, but we can go after some, and they definitely heard about Ole Miss and probably are intrigued about, you know, what's exactly going on there. I want to see it for myself and come and hopefully get to know us. And I think if they get to know our staff, it kind of becomes contagious that people want to play for these coaches.
Can you talk about when you get to the best running backs out of Memphis? You got Marcus Robinson, about getting back in Memphis after for so long. Tennessee got the best guys out there. Other schools people got the best guys out there.
Well, we've got a great guy up there in Maurice Harris. I mean, born and raised in Whitehaven, coached in the inner cities there. Everybody there knows him, and certainly I spent my share of time there also. I think we've got great connections there with the high school coaches and the people there. So I've said all along, you know, Mississippi, and we include Memphis in our what we consider our in-state region that we think we have to win in. So I just think Coach Harris does a great job of covering up those kids, and you know, we really felt like a couple of days ago we might slide another 1 or 2 out of there that are going elsewhere, but we were a little late to the party on those. But Coach Harris did a great job there.
You know, along those same lines, you kind of went into the Atlanta area this year. How important going to the future do you think that area is going to be?
Georgia's going to be very important to us. So many players there, and Wesley McGriff and Maurice Harris and Chris Kiffin have definitely got a good reputation there right now with the coaches, and it's an area that McGriff has recruited many times before at his other stops, and he's kind of helped those other 2 guys get in there and find their niche, and we kind of have divided it up among those, but we certainly will return there.
You kind of along the same lines to get Laquan out of the Midwest. How does that open up getting a kid of his caliber? Does that open it up for y'all to more recruiting region?
I think we're going to look, when we sit down and identify our plan for next year, we will look for, you know, our national guys, our 12 to 15 national guys, and certainly that school, that will be one that we will visit.
Coach, how much pressure did you have to hold forth down there in Batesville?
Oh, that was probably, I probably felt as much pressure, you know, not because anyone put it on me, but I'm from here. I understand you're supposed to win that recruit. And Tony was a great master of his emotions, and he doesn't communicate all the time as much as you would like for him to. What a wonderful mother, and Miss Mary, though, she is just a champ. And always felt good when I was around them. But, you know, I knew that there were a lot of other coaches that were around them also. And so yeah, I never was really quite sure. But, yeah, I felt, you know, you feel the pressure to win the Kalo Moores and, you know, the Durantes and Davions and Ryan Buchanans. But certainly, you know, being from right down the road, you even feel a little more pressure that we need to win this. We need to win this kid, not only because he's a tremendous football player, but it's an area Ole Miss is supposed to get the kid from. So Derek Nix did a tremendous job recruiting in-state for us, and the relationships he built were very strong. And you know, last night when I went to bed at about 1, I didn't sleep, but I got off the phone. My last call was about 12:50, and I felt real good about it. So I was glad that everything stayed the course the other day with him. When he threw at the land shark, it was pretty special.
Coach, talk a little bit about the national perception on this is
a little bit different than when you come and experience it here yourself. And several of the recruits throughout the process saw that and fell in love with Ole Miss. How important are those official visits to really hammer home that Ole Miss is special and different from some of the other schools that you're competing against?
Well, without going into too many details, I really think there's a strategy to when you bring a kid to campus, and how many times you try to get him here, and who you try to get him here with. And you know, we don't get a lot of credit right now that we have. Obviously, again, I'll be the first to say we had some natural ends, and without those, we would be talking about a top 10 class. I think we'd still have a great class. Don't know if it'd be quite as high without those, but still, even with those, you can't flub it up on bringing him here on the wrong weekend. And I think we were very strategic as to when we got a Laquan Treadwell to campus, when we got Laramie Tunsil to campus, and who they were with when they got here. And I think that was all part of our plan, and we laid it out a year ago. We knew a year ago what weekend we were going to try to get this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy all here together at the same time and sell our vision to do something new and fresh. And it worked for us. But again, I've always said, if you get a kid to campus and have a chance to develop a relationship with him, get him to this campus, I mean, the same people, the Forbes magazines, the Newsweek magazines, the USA Today, the same people that are always talking about Oxford, Mississippi is one of the top college towns to live in the nation. Ole Miss, top tailgating town in the nation. Safest campus in America, top 5 year in, year out. Those same people should understand if you get someone here, you got a chance. Our facilities are great. The vision of our AD and our administration is awesome. He gets to stand up with those recruits and families, and our chancellor does, and says, here's where we're going. Here, we're putting resources behind getting there. And so I think all of that is strategic in the plan. When to bring them, who to bring them with, and how many times you bring them. I think all of that was part of the plan, and it worked out pretty well for us.